So what happens if the borrower goes over the time that they anticipated for the loan? So let's say they borrowed it for 6 months and now we are past the 6 month mark.
So, as part of the terms, you should have some late fee arrangements because let's be honest, things happen, right? There's always something that can go wrong in real estate. And that doesn't mean that this person who's borrowing the money is a bad person or they're trying to do something shady. It could just mean that they had an unexpected delay. Let's say there was a permit issue, right? That was caused by the county. They thought they would be able to add on this addition. And when they got down to it, they needed a permit. The permitting was slow, or something like COVID happens unexpectedly and people can't, start work on the house for an extra couple of months than they thought so, or the person who is borrowing the money gets really sick, or they list the property for sale and then the buyer's financing falls through twice, which is no fault of the sellers, right? So there's all different things that can cause the deal to go a little bit longer than is anticipated. So, what I would recommend is first off, if you're loaning money for 6 months and you know that you need that money in 6 months and one day to do something else with, let's say you have, a child getting married or college tuition is due or some big home purchase or, something like that, then that would not be money that I would recommend loaning out, right? You need to make sure that this is money that you're not going to need right away after the term is up. And then what you would do in this instance where we're starting to hit 6 months and one day is start taking a look at the contract and making sure you understand what the late fees and payments are that you are owed, and those should be included in the contract from the get-go. This isn't something where you say, okay, it's 5.5 months, I haven't heard anything, now's the time to talk about late fees. Absolutely not. You want to talk about late fees right at the beginning. What is the setup? What do you get paid if things go late? How is that going to be handled? And in theory, and hopefully, the property and the person who has been borrowing the money has been in communication the whole time, and they're letting you know, hey, we actually had our second contract fall through, and we're going to solicit again. We're going to have to drop the price 5,000. You're still good, but I'm just letting you know that it's probably going to go a little bit later. I mean, things happen, right? That sounds like not a problem to me. They're being open, they're being communicative. The problem is when people don't communicate, and that's when you should start raising the alarm bells and start looking into the foreclosure process, which you should be able to do as you're in the first position.
Exactly what it mean for me to foreclose if I'm loaning in first position.
Yeah, so it basically means you're going to take control of the property. And so there are different processes for different states. But what it essentially means is that the borrower is going to lose rights to the property. And you can think about this not even in the lending space, but in somebody who owns their home and they don't make the payments on it anymore. So then the bank chooses to foreclose on them, and you see it go to auction, and you're able to bid at the auction for the property, just like you would if somebody stopped paying on their own house, and able to take the property back or feel confident that's going to get sold for more than what you are owed at that auction, and then you are able to take the proceeds.
When I'm lending my money on a real estate deal, let's say it's 6 months or a year that it's anticipated, when do I get paid? Do I get paid each month? Do I get paid at the end? How does that work?
Yeah, so it definitely depends on the terms of the deal, and some deals pay out monthly and some deals pay out at the end, and it really just depends on what your personal goals are. So you and I have worked with multiple operators that do things differently. And so if certain people are looking for monthly payments, then we would make sure to co-lend on a deal where there will be monthly payments. However, some people only pay at the end, because the management is easier, but they have open communication throughout, so you know that they are doing good things with your money. So you will get paid at the end, and it will be just the percentage at the very end.